All right, welcome back to the Deep Dives. Today, we're diving into something that's pretty much inescapable these days. Social media. You guys sent in a ton of stuff, and honestly, it's clear how deeply it's woven into our lives now. It's how we talk to each other, connect, share. Everything's changed because of it.
Yeah, no doubt. The stuff you sent over, it's like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. They're not just apps anymore. They're like part of the fabric of things now.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Alongside all that connection and sharing, there's this growing unease, right? Like all this digital interaction, what's it doing to us,
Yeah.
to our minds? So that's what we're going to dig into today. What's the real impact of social media on our mental well-being? The good, the bad, the whole picture.
Makes sense. I mean, look at how many people are on these platforms now. It's huge. Figuring out what that means for our mental state, it's kind of crucial at this point.
Okay, so first things first.
Yeah.
Social media, it's everywhere, right? And look around, everybody's on their phones. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Here.
It's how we communicate now.
It's totally become the norm, hasn't it? Like you use it to keep up with friends, family, news, you name it. It's all intertwined.
But then you read through these articles and there's this immediate flip to what they call the dark side. And it's not just fluff. There's actual research showing that spending too much time on social media can really mess with your head. More depression, anxiety, loneliness. It's all connected.
Yeah, and the research is pretty solid on this, it seems. It's not just people complaining. There's a real link between how much time some folks spend online and feeling worse mentally.
And it goes beyond just the time, right? It's the content, the way these platforms work, like cyberbullying and harassment. That stuff is amplified online. It can be brutal.
Oh, absolutely. Social media, because it can be so anonymous, it can make those kinds of behaviors way worse, much more intense.
And then there's this thing we all experience, right? You're scrolling through your feed and everyone seems to be living their best life. Vacations, perfect bodies, success. How can that not affect you? How can you not compare yourself and feel inadequate?
It's that constant barrage of curated perfection, isn't it? There's a psychologist quoted in one of these articles, and they call social media this breeding ground for unrealistic expectations, like a highlight reel on repeat.
Totally. And we all do it to some extent, putting our best foot forward online. But it creates this distorted reality. So how do we deal with that? How do we reconcile this curated self with, well, real life?
That's the key, isn't it? It's understanding that what we're seeing is often just a snapshot, a carefully chosen moment. It's not the full story, not the messy, complicated reality of everyday life. And when we forget that, that's when those feelings of inadequacy creep in because we're comparing ourselves to something that's not entirely real.
So true. But hold on, before we get too down on social media,
Yeah.
the articles also highlight some really positive aspects, like can be an amazing tool for connection, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We can't forget that. I mean, social media itself isn't the problem, it's how we use it. And being able to stay connected to people across distances, that's incredibly valuable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond just staying in touch. These articles talk about people sharing their experiences, finding support, even accessing mental health resources online. That's huge.
It kind of breaks down barriers, you know? If you feel isolated or maybe there's stigma around seeking help in person, online communities can be a lifeline.
And there's this one story in here that really stuck with me. Someone shared their struggles with anxiety online, and the response was overwhelming. So much support. It shows how powerful that human connection can be, even digitally.
It's like this reminder that even in this digital space, empathy and understanding can shine through. People can find comfort and solidarity with others going through similar things.
Okay, so we've got this double-edged sword, right? Potential downsides and real benefits, which brings us to the big question. How do we use social media in a healthy way? The good news is the articles offer some practical tips.
Yeah, it's not all doom and gloom. There are things we can do to minimize the negative stuff and really harness the positive potential.
Like first up, setting boundaries. Actually deciding, okay, I'm only going to be on social media for this amount of time each day. Sounds simple, but apparently it's super effective.
It's about taking back control, you know? Instead of constantly checking your phone, you choose when you engage. That way you create space for other things in your life and you're not always feeling plugged in.
Right. And along those lines, taking regular breaks, putting the phone down, stepping away from the screen to just relax and recharge.
It's like a digital detox, you know? You reconnect with the real world, with yourself, and it helps to lessen those feelings of comparison or FOMO.
Another tip that resonated with me is curating your online environment. It's about being mindful of who you follow, actively seeking out accounts that are uplifting or inspiring.
Basically, you're shaping your online experience. If an account makes you feel bad or triggers negative thoughts, unfollow them. You have that control.
And this last one is so important. Practicing self-compassion. Remembering that what you see online is often a highlight reel, not the full picture.
It's all about perspective, isn't it? Recognizing that social media is often a performance can help you take it less seriously, not get caught up in comparing yourself to something that's not entirely real.
Now, there are also some sneaky ways social media can affect us that we might not even realize, like using it before bed.
Yeah.
Apparently, that can really mess with your sleep.
Yeah, it's that blue light thing, right? It interferes with your body's natural sleep cycle, makes it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep.
Interesting. And then there's the impact on relationships, which is complicated. It can help us stay connected, but it can also fuel comparisons and unrealistic expectations.
It's that double-edged sword again. It's great to stay in touch, but it's important to remember that social media is just one facet of a relationship. Real-life connection is still key.
But let's not forget the good stuff. Social media can be a real lifeline when it comes to mental health. There are online therapy platforms, support groups, even therapists connecting with clients online. It's making help more accessible.
And that's so important, right? Especially for people who might not have access to traditional therapy or feel uncomfortable seeking help in person. Online options can be a game changer.
Now, we need to talk about young people. The articles really highlight the impact social media has on kids and teens. They're still developing, figuring things out. It makes sense that they'd be more vulnerable to the pressures of this digital world.
Absolutely. They're still shaping their identity, their sense of self-worth. So navigating social relationships online, comparing themselves to others, it can be really intense at that age.
And one area where this is especially concerning is body image. They're bombarded with these curated, often photoshopped images. It sets up unrealistic expectations about how they should look.
The danger is that these images become normalized. You start to think that's how everyone looks, and if you don't measure up, it can really damage your self-esteem, especially when you're young.
And for some people, the articles acknowledge that it might just be too much. They even talk about taking a breakup from social media, like a digital detox, and say there are ways to do it effectively.
It's important to recognize that stepping away from social media can be a valid choice. If it's impacting your mental health, taking a break can be really beneficial. It's about prioritizing yourself.
So to bring it all back, it seems like the key takeaway is this. Social media is powerful.
Yeah.
It can connect us, inspire us, give us access to resources, but it can also be detrimental to our mental well-being if we're not careful.
It's all about finding that balance, right? Being intentional about how we use it, not letting it consume us or dictate our self-worth.
Exactly. It's about being mindful, setting boundaries, and focusing on real-life connections as well.
And being willing to adapt. As social media keeps evolving, we need to stay aware and adjust our habits to protect our mental well-being.
So here's something to think about as we wrap up. Social media is here to stay. It's intertwined with our lives. So what does that mean for the future? What are the long-term implications for our mental health, both individually and collectively? What can we do now to prepare and make sure we're using these tools in a way that supports our well-being? It's a question worth pondering.